Hi everyone. Okay, here's the second try of me recording this video for you. The first time it got lost in the internet. We are going to be drafting a basic bodice block and a skirt block in a separate video from Helen Joseph Armstrong's Pattern Making for Fashion Design, the 5th edition. I took photos of the pages we're using and have them over here on the left-hand side. Page 40 of that book has the measurement charts written out. We're going to be just making a size 6 in this video. And then I have the pages here that we're going to follow along on. So I'm going to just work in the 2D window since we're just going to be patterning. And we're going to start with making our box in figure 1. So I'm going to go over here to the rectangle tool. I'm going to click so I can make the size I need. We're going to start with the height, which is A to B, the full length plus 1/8. That's number 6 for the front. 6 7/8 plus 1/8 is 17. The width, A to C, is the across shoulder minus 1/8. So that's 14 front, 7.5 minus 1/8. So that's 17 3/8. So that's 7.375. Is it 325? 325. Is it? Hold on. 3/8 in decimal. I do have to look every so often. Okay, yeah, 375. Good thing I checked. All right. I'm going to line it up just generally where this black, the gray outline is of this avatar, and I'm going to make annotations as I go. I'm just clicking the annotation button and placing as I go. If you want to move them, you can do so after the fact. You have to have the annotations made within the box or else you'll get an error message, but you can move them after the fact. All right, B to D is the center front length marked up from the bottom. For number 5, that is 14 1/8. So here we're going to, in the longer line, put 14.125. That's 14 1/8. And we'll just keep marking as we go. This, they want to square across, square out 4 inches. So I'm going to use my internal line tool with the hotkey of G and start clicking and right click to give us a 4-inch outset. Now from B to E, we are going to measure the bust arc 17 plus 1/4. So 17, the bust arc is 9.5 plus 1/4, so that's 9 3/4. We're going to draw a line here that is 9 3/4. All right, and then we're going to square up 11 inches. That is E. You can see that it kind of extends past our rectangle, but that is all right for our purposes. We're gonna have to trace off all these patterns after anyway. All right, that's done with figure 1. Moving on to figure 2, B to G. We're going from here up to over here. We're going to draw a line that is the shoulder slope plus 1/8. So number 7 is the shoulder slope for the front. That's 17 1/16. So that's going to be 17 3/16. What is 3/16 in decimal form? 0.1875. So 17.1875 is what we're trying to do. We're going to try to match it as well as we can, and then we can adjust the line length after. 17.1875. 1/8 might be as close as I can get. Yeah, we're going to do 0.18. You can adjust the length of the line, but with such a small decimal, I feel like it's not even worth it if you're doing it that with such a small number. So we're going to get it as close as we can. You just need to make sure that it starts down here at B and aligns up on this edge. G to H. We're just going to do the bust depth down from here to the bust depth. So that is number 9. The bust depth is 9 1/8. So we'll go ahead and do 9.125. That is H. All right, G to I is the shoulder length. We're gonna square down from there. Okay, so G to I, we have number 13. Shoulder length is 5 1/8. So we're gonna draw a line. We're gonna match up with this line here, 5.125. 0.124 is pretty good. Now I need to make a square from here to here. The way I'm going to do that is by making an internal rectangle. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it over, line up these points at the top, and I'm going to double click to move my pivot point and pivot it around so we can line this up perfectly. I'm then going to copy this and paste it so I can have that angle, but I can delete the square. I'm also going to just add another point there so I can delete this little tail, and we're good. So we've got I up here. J to K, the bust span plus a quarter. So that's number 10. The bust span is 3 5/8. So adding in a quarter would be, let's see, 1, 4, 2, 7/8, 3.875. So we're going to start it here, and we're going to draw past this H line, 3.875. So you want to make sure it's parallel. It's going to intersect with this H point, but it can go past. So this is letter K, and this is letter J. D to L is 1/2 of D to J. So we need to find the midpoint here. You can see that this actually selects this whole line though. So we're going to go ahead and just add a point in there. So then we can just find the halfway point here. You right click and hit uniform split to find the middle. And then the across chest plus 4 is going to be the line that we draw here. So the across chest is number 15. So that's 6 1/2 plus a quarter. So that's 6 3/4. We will draw out 6.75. And then it just wants us to draw up and down a little line to square it. M, L. Great. All right, B to F is the placement for our dart. So dart placement is number 20, and it is 3 inches over. So we will put in a 3-inch mark, and it wants us to square down 3/16, which is this, 0.1875. So we're going to draw a line, 0.1875. And if your decimal place doesn't go past 2, that's okay. Just do 0.187. All right, we're going to move to figure 3. We're going to, oops, I lost my thing. There we go. We're going to move on to figure 3. We're going to find I to N, which will be along this side line here. So that is the new strap, which is figure 8, 17 plus 1/8. So we're going to try to align as best as we can. We can always draw the line and then rotate it. So I'm going to try to get it as close as I can, and then maybe we can adjust it if we need to. So 17 1/8, 17.122 is close enough to 125. That's great. See, oh, you got to click in the pattern if you want to add an annotation, and then you can drag it out. N to O is the side length, so you're going to measure from here up. That number is 11 Side length is 8 1/8. So one thing is that we want to measure from here up. So I just added, I'm trying to add a point. Sometimes if there's an internal line above where you're trying to add a point, it won't let you. So I'm just going to put it right here and just use my edit tool to move it up where I want it to. And then I can go ahead and add my 8 1/8 inch spot. All right, so that is O. I keep doing it to myself. From N to P, you're going to draw a line that is 1 1/4 inch outside of N, so 1.25. And now you're going to draw the line of O to P. So we want basically the same measurement, just shifted out. So this line was 8.125. So we're going to draw a line that's 8.125, but just 1 1/4 away. So we're going to try to get it as close as possible. And we're just keeping it parallel. Sometimes it doesn't want to work. Okay, hold on. I'm going to draw a line here that's 8.125. And then I'll drag it over and I will rotate it. So I'm dragging my pivot point here. We'll rotate it until it's just about there. And from here, I'll just edit it manually. All right, moving on to figure 4, P to Q. The waist arc, where's Q? There it is. That's going to be finding the other half of our dart. So Q is the waist arc plus quarter ease minus B to F. And I forgot to add in that this is F and this is P. Once again, if your annotations go away, just try restarting your program and they should come back. You can check to make sure that they are toggled on here in the information display, but it's just like a glitch that I've been finding and that we have found in class. So P to Q, waist arc 19. For the front is 6.5 plus a quarter, so 6 3/4 minus the 3 inches we already have here. So we're going to do 3 3/4. So I believe what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line here, starting on P, that goes down to F, and we're going to add in a line that is at 3.75. So that should be Q. Now we're going to draw a line from K to F. That is 7.513. And we need to draw another one that passes through that point that we just made. So I'm actually going to make a copy of this. And we're going to, oh, my fire alarm just tripped. We're going to double click this, rotate it, and we want it to pass through that point. Perfect. And now we're going to draw a slightly curved line from P to the end right here, trying to hit N in that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing from B to F. You can always go in and change those angles later. I realize that we were supposed to drop this 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to draw out 0.675, and we're going to redraw these dart legs just to that point instead of the point at K. So we won't be using these outer darts. So I'm going to delete that, and delete that. we go. Now that's where that should be. We have our slightly curved lines, and now we're going to move to figure 5, which is drawing in the armholes. We don't have a French curve. I'm going to try to make one in CLO at some point because it seems ridiculous that there isn't one available in CLO Set Connect. So we're just going to try to draw in a curve as best as we can. We want to make sure that O right here is a square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an internal rectangle to give myself a 1-inch square. And I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to move my pivot point one more time, rotate it. There you go. So now when we are drawing our curve, we're going to make sure that it is square down here at the bottom with that rectangle. So I'm going to start at G, pass through M, and then end right there at O. And then using my blue tails, I can adjust as we go and readjust that curve to be however we like it. You're going to do the same thing at the front. We do have a little bit we're going to jut out. We're going to mark a 1/8 inch line, 0.125, and we're going to try to hit that with our curve as well. So we're going to try to keep this square at the front, try to hit the edge of that line, and there we go. Beautiful. There's our front. Now we're going to draft the back. I'm just going to do it over right here next to it. I'm going to save this. I hope that saved where I wanted it to. All right, so we're going to do A to B, which is the full length for the back, 16 3/4. And then A to C is the across shoulder, which is 14 for the back, which is 7 3/4. I'm going to keep doing my annotations. Hopefully they are helpful. All right, B to D is the center back length, which is 5, 16 1/4, 16.25, and it wants us to square that out 4 inches, so we're going to draw a line out 4. We'll measure that, we'll mark that as D. And from B to E, to find our full width, we're going to do the back arc plus 3/4. So that's number 18. The back is 3 1/8 plus 3/4. So that is 6 7/8. All right, so let's drag, no, that can't be right. I think I grabbed the wrong number. Number 18, 8 1/8. So that is 8 1/8 plus 6 8 7/8. 8 7/8. All right, so 8.875. There we go. And we'll square up. It doesn't give a specific amount. We'll just say 13 inches. Okay. Now we'll do A to F, which is finding the neck. The back neck plus 1/8. So that's number 12. The back neck is 2 5/8 plus 1/8. So that's 2 oh my goodness, plus 1/8. 2 6/8, that's 3/4, 2.75. You're gonna have so much fun listening to me do math in my head all semester long. B to G is the shoulder slope plus 1/8 inch. That's number 7. Back shoulder slope is 16 5/16. So that's 15 7/16. 16 15, no. What is it? The shoulder slope back. Yeah, 7/16. What is that? 0.4375. All right, so 16.4375. We'll line it up on this line we drew down from C. 16.4375. You can zoom in to try to get a little closer. You can do 16.43. Okay, F to H is the shoulder length plus 1/2 inch. So the shoulder length is 2 5/8 plus 1/2. So that's 3 1/8. No. Shoulder length, so that's, oh my goodness. It's too late for this. Yeah. Oh, that's the back neck. The shoulder length is 5 1/8 plus 1/2. So that's 5 5/8. So now we're going to draw a line going past G. 5 5/8. That is going to be 5.675. 5.674. Ah, damn it. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to change this line length to 5.675. And we're going to extend it from the end and make sure it gets pushed out that way. Perfect. Alrighty. F to H, we got line may pass G, square down from F to D line. So once again, we need to make an internal rectangle in order to find this right angle. I'm just going to make a 1-inch square. I'm going to bring it up here, double click to rotate my pivot point, rotate it, and now we have our nice square angle. B to I is the placement for the dart. I know by now that that is 3 inches over, so we're going to add a 0.3 inches in. B to J is the waist arc plus dart intake and ease. So that's 19. The waist arc for the back is 6 1/8 plus 1.5. Okay, 6.125 plus 1.5 plus 1/4 inch of ease, 0.25. Oops, 2.4. So that's 7.865. So we already took out 3. So actually, let's subtract 3. And we'll measure over 4.865 from this point. And it's just a little bit past that line we have down from C. I to K is the dart intake, which is going to be 1.5 inches. And we're going to find the middle between those as well using our uniform split. Moving on to the next page, we're going to do J to M. We're going to square down from J 3/16, which I'm losing it. What is 3/16? 1.1875. 0.1875. All right, and then from M to N, that is our side length, which is 11. Side length is 8 1/8. So we're going to draw a line from the bottom here up 8.125. 8.128. It's close enough. There's N. L to O, you square up from L 1 inch less than M to N. All right, so we just drew M to N, that's 8.125. So we're going to draw a line that's 7.125. Great, so that's O. Now we're going to draw the dart legs from O to 1/8 inch past I and K. So we can either draw the dart legs and then edit them, or we can draw a little line down. Let's do something different and we'll move the dart legs after we place them. So we'll go doop, 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 hit enter. And then we're just going to click these 2 points and we're going to drag them, and I'm going to right click and put 0.125. And it has dragged it down the amount we needed. Now we need to draw a slightly curved hem from K to M and from B to I. So we're going to start here. Again, just drag before you release. And we will curve this just a bit, because the body is not a square. All right, moving on to figure 9. F to P. We're going to be working on the shoulder. Oh, I keep doing that. Here we go. F to P is 1/2 of H to F to H. So this line here, we're just going to use our X and we're going to uniform split it into 2. We're going to draw a 3 inch line in the direction of O. So we're going to just draw a line first to O, and then we'll draw a point that is 3 inches down. So that'll help us just keep everything aligned. P to R is 1/4 inch. So we will put a spot here, 0.25. Draw a dart leg from Q 1/8 inch past R and connect to F. All right, so we are going to just draw a line that is 1/8 of an inch out. I'm trying to make it as parallel as possible. It might not be perfect. And then we're going to draw a dart up here and meeting up to F. All right, so then we need to do the same thing. We need to draw another 1/4 inch dot over here. And then we need to match the length of this line. So I'm actually going to copy this line, put it back exactly where it was. Oops. Put it in the same spot, and then I'm going to double click on it and rotate it. Use our lovely pivot point. And we're going to rotate it so that it goes right through that line, that point we just drew. And then we're going to connect it to H out here. All right. So now we're going to find D to S, which is where we're going to help draft the armhole. So D to S is 1/4 of D to B. D to B is 16.25, so that's 4.4. Let me just double check. 16.25 divided by 4, 4.06. Down from the top, we'll measure 4.06. And we're going to measure out across back plus 1/4 inch, and that's number 16. Across back, 6 3/4 plus 1/4, we're going out 7. And we want to square up and down within that. So now for the armhole, again, we're going to draw as best as we can, starting from H going through that point we just drew and coming down to N. What I should have done first is add in that little rectangle. So I'm going to make another one. I'm going to make a little 1-inch internal rectangle. I'm going to bring it over and rotate it so that it's parallel. And we can go back in and we can adjust this however we like. It's not perfect, but it's okay. And then we're going to draw in the neckline. With this, we need to go in 3/8 of an inch from here. So I'm just going to put in 0.375. And we're going to draw our final line, trying to hit that point we just added while keeping a bit of a square neck. It won't be perfect. There we go. That is our basic bodice drafting. Now we're going to save this again and we're going to pull out the pieces that we need. We're going to trace out the pattern edges. So to trace, you're going to use this tool here. And you're going to click holding shift, you're going to click every edge of the outside of that piece. Make sure you get everything or else it will not copy as a pattern piece. You hit right click, traces pattern, and boom, it copies over all of the internal lines. I'll show you how to delete those momentarily. We're going to do the same thing for our back panel. Click every little outside piece. If something goes wrong, it's usually in this step, making sure that you've gotten everything. So now I'm going to select these bases with my selection tool. I'm going to move them over to the side and I'm just going to archive them because we don't need them right now. I'm going to bring back over my blocks. I'm going to arrange them how I usually like working. And then in order to delete all of the internal lines, what I'm going to do is just go in here, lock pattern outlines, select everything, and there you go. All the internal lines are gone. Then you can unlock them. I'm going to go in and delete any unnecessary points that are in here and just kind of shape up my curves a little bit. They look a little funky, but we can do a little bit more of that in fitting and stuff like that. So now I'm going to open up my 3D window again because we need our girl. The front, we need to make a symmetric pattern. So I'm just going to left click on this. So I select just the center front and then right click, unfold symmetric editing with sewing. And you have a perfectly symmetrical pattern. If you go into avatar display and turn on show arrangement points, you'll then click the center dot for that pattern and it will arrange it perfectly in her center front chest. For the back, you're going to select it in a 3D window as well, or 2D window. You don't need to be like turning it and trying to adjust it and stuff. That takes forever and is not very useful. All you're going to do is click on one dot in her back and it will always align it to that spot. And now I'm going to select this one and do symmetric pattern with sewing instead of reflecting it because it's two separate pattern pieces. And because it's mirrored, it's going to put it in exactly the opposite spot on the back. So now we're going to start sewing this up. We're going to use our segment sewing tool, which is this first one down from edit sewing. We're going to stitch up our darts. Please remember to always stitch with the notches facing the same direction you want to sew. So if you do one with a notch up here and then a notch down here, it'll cross the seams and it will not make a successful seam. So just make sure you're watching your notches as you go. We're going to do all the darts first. All right. And you can take a look as you're going to make sure that they are looking correct. And if your threads here are not showing, you can try turning them on or off in the garment display window. We're going to sew our side seams and then our shoulder. You can see that there are two shoulder seams on the back to sew to one shoulder seam on the front. So for that, we're going to use MN segment sewing. We're going to start and follow the directions that the mouse shows you. So our first seam, We're going to click it with the notch facing towards high point shoulder, hit enter, and then you're going to work backwards on the other one where you're going to start closest to the shoulder, click the other one, hit enter, and it aligns it perfectly. And it just splits that seam exactly where it needs to fit. Going back to segment sewing, we're going to stitch up the back. Always one that I forget. And we're going to hit simulate. You can just hit your space bar and it will do that for you. And that is great. We have a pretty successful bodice. We can look at a few things in the fitting, but that is great. Now what you can do is name your pieces. Front, you can select both and name them both back, and then it will name one back one and just regular back. If you want to add seam allowance, that is this tool right here. You would just select over everything. It automatically gives it a 1 centimeter or 0.39 seam allowance. If you want to do only part as longer, like if you want to turn back hem, you can increase it just by clicking those individual pieces and then changing it. Or if you want to change everything, you can go down to like a quarter and just select everything and it will change it all. These little narrow darts always get messed up with seam allowance. So sometimes I end up just deleting it and just knowing that there is seam allowance in there. With the bigger ones, it doesn't happen so much, but with the little ones, it just kind of overlaps and looks funky. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so that is our bodice block. Good luck. I'll see you next class.